And it's when we overdo anything beyond its usefulness. It could be over-exercising. It could be, I've had people talk to me about over-volunteering because they're using that to crowd out some other, playing chess too much. Whatever. It can be something that in itself is lovely, but when overdone, when it has an attachment, when it's used in kind of a driven or more numbing or crowding out, that becomes an issue. Because you're giving yourself over to something without really feeding all parts of you. These are great. Anything else you want to share? So let's go to Monica, and then we'll get...
I was having a conversation with Cindy, and we were talking about like soft addictions that we enjoy, like sitting in front of the television and like enjoying a TV show or ice cream and enjoying it, and like when does it cross the line? Mm-hmm. And I have an ice cream soft addiction, big time, and I live alone, so for a while it was really easy to like sit down and eat,
sure,
a pint of ice cream, and there was no one around to...
Well, that you sat down and ate, it's an upstat. Most people don't. Sit.
Yeah, well, so like it was really easy to not hold myself accountable to that,
yeah,
and I found that I was just like shoving it in my face and like eating a bowl of
yeah,
ice cream in like 15 seconds,
right,
not enjoying it, and I actually like recently turned that around into like something that I really do enjoy, like
mm-hmm,
like have less, but like really take the time to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I found that I've been able to turn a lot of my soft addictions into like just soft enjoyments, I guess,
mm-hmm,
and really like get the pleasure out of the things that I'm using to numb, so that I am open to just the joy and everything that I can do.
It's good. Thank you. It's not, with soft addictions, because mostly we're overdoing normal everyday things that we probably, you don't need to have ice cream, but you're going to use a computer, you're going to, these things are in your life, so you have to really change your relationship with them, because you can't necessarily get rid of all these things. Some of them you can, but many of them you need to change your relationship with how you interact with it, which can help. But I'm a little suspicious, just the conversation that the two of you had, because I agree with you that it's true. You can shift your relationship with things so you can savor something and enjoy it and not have that same addictive quality. But the minute I hear somebody, well, where does it cross the line? I already know you cross the line, or you wouldn't be asking me that, and you're trying to find a way to defend it, so you may be paying for other people's use of that line, but that's always one where I know, like, I don't, you look at it, you'll see, you'll know. And if you're attached to it, like the Buddhists talk about, and it's, and more what the bigger conversation you want to have now, like what is the bigger hunger that you have, and how is it best met in order for you to have a purposeful spiritual life? That's the real question. And if you're in that question, it's much easier to sort through this other stuff, like how much ice cream is too much. That's not a big question. Big questions are, what's my purpose? What am I about? How do I want to live my life? And then out of that, the smaller choices get a little bit easier to do. And I'm not saying you can never eat ice cream or can't watch television. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about just having a more honest inquiry into this bigger sense of what my purpose is, and then what is in the service of that purpose. What serves me. And not like we don't need a break, or but if you do, I want you to have something that's in the service of your purpose, that it refreshes you, that it recreates you, that you feel more refreshed after it, that you feel more clear, that you feel more open, you've learned something, that your break is actually something that reboots you and makes you even more accessible or more available to get more out of life. So it's not about depriving us of anything. It's really just having that bigger focus on, and that's what I want to lead us to. How many of you appreciate the inquiry you just did with your buddy? Were they good? Well, all right, let's applaud all of you for that. I think that's good. And this is this bigger question, one, about a life of purpose and a life of meaning, a spiritual life. And the Buddhists help us kind of look at this, our attachments and our cravings, as opposed to this deeper longing for something more, the sense of meaning that all the philosophers and the religious teachers have been trying to speak to throughout thousands of years. It's because and even recently, the positive psychologists, and as you know, we've been studying that, and we talk about it with the Secrets of Happiness and the More Life training, but what they look at, what they found in all the studies now, and all of them come to the same similar conclusion, that this sense of positive experience of life, a sense of purpose, a sense of true depth of happiness, doesn't occur through escaping. And most of these things we use to escape doesn't come from escaping into addictive behaviors, doesn't come from zoning out. It doesn't come from getting out of things. It comes from what? Getting into things. Yeah, really embracing things. That in fact, that real positive experience of life, a sense of meaning, fulfillment, purpose, this more spiritual, fulfilling life, comes through deepening our engagement in life, not lessening it. It comes from not getting away, because we all think about, oh, I'll be happy when I'm on vacation, and where I have my Calgon moment, or just get away, everybody shuts up. I'm not saying you don't need a little space sometimes, but that it's not about getting away from life and zoning out. It's about getting into life more fully, is what all the studies show and what all the philosophers have been telling us throughout time. So that deepening our engagement in life and focusing on meaning is where we actually get that sense of soul satisfaction in that way. And that's what all the positive psychology studies show. And if you remember, there's the research summarized by a lot of the positive psychologists is that happiness, this sense of a fulfilling life, is related to, it is related to the slightest relationship is experiencing pleasure, but really being able to savor sensory experiences, being present enough that you can feel and see and smell and touch what's going on, that's the smallest part of it, although that factors in. But the more important are engagement, really that depth of involvement, and meaning. And they describe meaning as using your personal strengths to serve some larger end. Doesn't that sound like your life purpose statements that we talked about last night that you're working with? Using your strengths or what matters to you in a way that serves a larger end. They're saying that sense of engagement and meaning is what's going to create your satisfaction and happiness here on this plane, not in the next life, not in the afterlife, but just here, right now. And and most of us spend, and Seligman, the positive psychologist that started the field, one of the founders, he said that research is really interesting. He said, this is newsworthy, and his quote is, because so many Americans build their lives around pursuing pleasure. It turns out that engagement and meaning are what's really important. And that's not what we spend our lives necessarily doing. And that's what we're in the conversation right now to try to open that up. So would you turn to someone near you and say, I want a life of purpose and meaning, if that feels true for you. I want to live a life of purpose and meaning. I want a life of purpose and meaning. I want a life of purpose and meaning.